time now to tackle the headline. We're going inside the 10 big contract calls to be made this year and what we think might happen. So, Macca and Ralphie, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Fire some names your way.
Yeah. It's 5 words that just send a shiver down my spine. They won't pick him Mitch. So all of us don't want to get in that situation.
We need to start March.
These are guesstimates. These are estimations. This is our best knowledge. But I tell you what, if we get them right, we'll be claiming him.
What if we get them wrong?
6 months down the track.
Gonski.
Plant your flag. Now, go early, Arden Street, Luke Davies-Uniacke, or LDU, as he is fondly known. Where's he at?
It will not happen anytime soon, but I think he will stay at the football club for 7 years on about 1.4-ish, so that's good money in anyone's language.
That sounds good. There's all sorts of things. I mean, you caught up with Clarko.
Yeah, no, well, he said they won't pay overs. They'll pay enough. He's lost Buddy Franklin before, but he doesn't want to lose Luke Davies.
So would it be? So if the contract offer was, OK, 1.1 and you can bugger off, or we'll pay you 1.3 but I'll stay, you reckon Clarko would say, pay the extra money?
Let's just pay the extra money. But what he did say is that they will be prepared to match the offer, which they didn't do on Buddy Franklin. So if it's in the right ballpark, it's got to be in the right ballpark.
It's like car shopping. We all go in there never wanting to pay overs, but you stump up eventually. St Kilda, Nazaya Wanganeen-Milera.
Yeah, well, Ralphie and Lauren, I think he'll end up staying. Like, he's their best player. They've got to find the money for him, though. That's what they've got to do. Get the money for him. He's probably worth 1.2, I reckon, the way he's playing. By the end of this year, he'll be their best player. They cannot afford to lose him.
Well, they've got to find the money, don't they? They're splashing it around everywhere. Over the years, we've heard Dustin Martin, we've heard Jordan De Goey, we've heard Finn Callaghan more recently, but, you know, maybe just reward a few of your own.
Well, I think that's it.
Well, they were paying 900 grand times 6 for a Josh Battle. So what's that? 5.6, 9, 7, 6.3. That's $6 million of salary cap space. So they would be absolutely negligent to lose him over a couple of hundred grand, getting him to go to a Port Adelaide or an Adelaide.
Yeah, the big blue, Tom de Koning.
Oh, he stays for mine. I know people will say, how's he going to knock this money back? And how are Carlton going to pay the money there as well? They're up to their eyeballs in salary cap, but I think they've been working on this for about 2 years now. One thing about him is a very, very loyal person. I think internally, they've been pitching to him about the premiership window, and here we are, we're going to win one. Just think about what would be if you're a Carlton player who plays in the next premiership 30 years on or however many years on. Think about how much money you're going to make at the end of your footy career. So I think he's very loyal. I'm pretty certain TDK will end up staying at Carlton Footy Club.
So the Chad, who didn't rise his price because it was already sky high, what do you think is going to happen to the Chad Warner?
I think he will be living and playing in Western Australia next year. I mean, once we start talking real estate and entering that sort of sphere, I think it'll be positioned beautifully for him to potentially get to the Eagles, you know, really get, what would he get there, Ralphie? Another 5, another 6, good money, set himself up in Perth, you know, everything's sitting pretty and the picks go back to Sydney.
So I don't want to talk about Harley Reed, but I just think that the Harley Reed deal is linked. So I think it's much more likely that Harley stays and, you know, potentially signs an extra 2 years for, you know, $2 million for each of those years. But I just think if Chad Warner comes, then I think his capacity to leave, not under the cover of darkness because he's Harley Reed, everything he does is on the back page lead. But I just think that really gives much more of an opportunity for him to say, this might be my time. Now, again, it's not even round 1. He might have a fantastic year. His partner might come across and live with him. They might even trade for him. West Coast, an AFLW player. But, I think they're much more linked than people would believe.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any doubt about that. That's going to be the fascinating watch, isn't it, all the way through. And where would he go, Ralphie? That's the thing that I'm fascinated. If he does come back, which club's leading the way, do you reckon? Is there 1 or 2?
Well, I think it's got to be Richmond because his manager, of course, is the brother of Ry Geeshan, who's the Richmond recruiter. No, I'm only joking.
Lock it in.
I don't know. Everyone's going to say Essendon because he's got mates there. I'm not sure about that. You know, they keep telling us that they're a 2029 premiership window. It's a long way away.
Yeah.
How many picks would you have to give up for Harley Reed?
Oh, my goodness.
You'd probably do it.
I think you'd do
it. You back the truck up and you give 3 first rounders.
Yeah. What about another Eagle, Ralphie? Oscar Allen, the big man. I mean, he hasn't strung together a number of consecutive strong seasons yet, but he's really being talked about as one of these guys that could probably cash in, you know, on the market. Big men don't exactly grow on trees, do they? Yeah,
I think if he plays the next 15 games and kicks, say, 30-odd goals, because he was averaging 2 goals a game when he came back from that knee issue, I think that the club will pay up. And it's not just about money, it's about a long-term deal. You know, I think that the most they'd offer him is 5 years. Someone suggested that 6 months back they're saying, we'll offer you 3 with clauses. Now, I haven't been able to confirm that, but if that is the case, we know what they did with Elliot Yeo. They really, you know, dragged that contract on for a long time. And so everyone says Brisbane. Brisbane doesn't give 6-year deals at $1 million plus to blokes with banged up bodies. They give deals like Link McCarthy.
Yep.
Cockatoo, what's his name? Cockatoo.
Yeah.
Those sort of guys, guys who have had battered and bruised bodies, but they'll give them a chance. So, I'd be less likely to think Brisbane's just going to throw the kitchen sink at him, even though, of course, they have got room in that forward line now without Joe Danaher.
Let's stick in Queensland then while you're on it. Matt Rowell.
He's going to stay, isn't he?
I think he will. He's, again, a loyal guy.
He's best mates with all these blokes.
Can't see him leaving.
Best mates with the captain.
Noah's the captain now, that's right.
They get some wins under the board. They get to 8-3. That's a big if, but I just think that he'd say to himself, I'm close enough to a premiership, sign a 2-year deal, get to free agency and then make your choice, as an 8-year player.
Then work it out.
What about Cozzy?
Pickett? We've already had the first thing drawn, and when you look at Brad Green saying we're going to have 3 first-rounders, we want this, we want that, I reckon Cozzy will end up leaving, or certainly trying to leave. I think that's what's going to happen. He wants to get back there, doesn't he? Let's have a look at, it'd be outstanding if he could get back there from that perspective. But if you're Melbourne, you're going to fight as much as you can, but if he wants to go, I'd let him go.
Did Brad Green make a mistake to just set the market early?
He did, absolutely. I just think he's thrown it out there too early. You don't need to speak then, do you? Do you need to speak in that situation? Keep things very close to your chest.
So if you're the player and you think, they're not letting me go, hang on, 3 first-rounders, do you
think that's going to stop a player, though? I don't think the player's worried. They just say to my manager, get this done, I want to leave.
Yeah, I think the seed was already planted and all of a sudden it's blossoming rather than, withering on the vine.
Yeah, agreed.
Young family too as well. Jamarra Ugle-Hagan's been talked about all summer. I'm not having a bit each way here. I'd love to see him stay at the Bulldogs, but I think the next 10 weeks in particular is going to be really crucial on this one, isn't it? I know Sydney's been talked about. They've come for him before. There's obviously going to be clubs circling, particularly with, strong welfare programs and that sort of thing.
Hawks would be trying.
I reckon the Hawks would be right.
Nearly got him.
That's exactly right. So I think they'll be lurking. I'd love to see him stay, but I think if things keep playing out the way that they are, Ralphie, it may become a situation where it's better for everybody if he does go.
Yeah, and we are all truly guessing on him right now. All I would say is that I hope he's not thinking, oh, gee whiz, I can just jump ship. It'd be easier at another club. The only thing that's going to really get him back to playing great football is hard work and listening to the experts, and we understand it's a really complicated picture. So I just hope he doesn't see that as a crutch. It's a bit too hard here. Work your bum off. If it does happen by the end of the year, it's time for a change. That's fine, but don't use it as a lever just to get out of this football club because you don't want to roll your sleeves up.
What about Luke Jackson? Does he really come back?
No. I think he's got. All of us have partners, and it's challenging at times. Where do you want to live? East or West Coast. I think there's a chance that he has the little Essendon, the little expansion of your contract there.
The little Zach Merritt.
Zach Merritt.
The little Zach Merritt, yeah.
A little bit of interest from somewhere else. You're still contracted for 5 more years, but instead of being at $850 guaranteed, we'll get you to $1 million. I think that would be beneficial for both parties.
Very good by you two. Very informative. I'll hit you up with some more next week, no doubt. That's it for Tackle the Headline. We'll see you next time.